Welcome, everyone. Hello. So for the people who are new here and haven't been in the field of Embodied Awakening Academy, we say welcome very genuinely. It's always good to feel new people coming into the field. And for those of you who have gone into different levels of depths with us, thank you for your continued joining of what we're doing here, which is very reflective of the name, Embodied Awakening. I'm Chantel Raven. I'm the founder of the Practitioner Training and our Academy. And yeah, I'll start by sharing a little bit about why Embodied Awakening and what is this field of energy that is holding the practitioner training. So pre-Tantra and discovering Tantra, my journey was centered very much around awakening and the non-dualist realms of being able to witness this and our emotions and everything within and without as a neutral observer, and not resisting anything that is arising, being able to really be with sensation, be with emotion without resistance, surrendering into what is. And that was amazing. And it really supported a sense of oneness within me that could see beyond delusion. However, there was a lot of different energies that would arise in me that, as much as I tried to simply witness, sometimes they would just overtake me and make me do things and say things that were definitely not in alignment with that non-dual neutrality. So I would kind of end up beating up on myself and wondering why there was anxiety and, unfulfillment inside of me. And this became really clear to me as being an issue when I was diagnosed with cervical cancer, and knowing that what manifests in a physical sense has an energetic resonance. I knew that there was something that I needed to look at energetically and emotionally. So I put out to the universe, like, okay, what's the missing piece here? Where I could feel this in-between stage, when you're in an in-between stage where you were comfortable with whatever you were employing as your authority of spirituality, relationship, sexuality, whatever fields of the human experience that really interest you. And you go, okay, something's not quite working here, but I don't know what will work. And I was at a bit of a loss and having an internal crisis. So I just put out to spirit, please show me where I'm meant to go now. And a few days later, a friend told me about a Tantra practitioner who I ended up meeting and having sessions with. And that really marked the difference between two lives. There's the pre-Tantra life and the post-Tantra life. And once I really devoted myself to the mastery of Tantra, what began to unfold was a whole being in here that I didn't even know existed. And my greatest passion in bringing this work forth is to really support that wave of evolution that I experienced to humankind. Because to me, Tantra is the difference that makes the difference to so many people, because it looks at the three areas of life that create the deepest unfulfillment that I've seen in the last decade of working with people and in my own life and friends' lives, which is relationships, sexuality, and spirituality. And, you know, spirituality encompasses a lot, but to me, what spirituality is really about is, can we purge whatever is not our natural essence and remember who we really are? And then relating is such an amazing avenue towards that. Sexuality is such an amazing avenue towards that. And pre-Tantra, I wasn't feeling any depth of understanding at an embodied level of what it means to really relate in a way that invokes ease, joy, and pleasure more than anything else. I didn't know how to feel orgasmic energy all through my body and surrender in lovemaking in a way that it's actually a healing modality and something expansive. It was always enjoyable and would relieve stress for sure, but the depths to which Tantra takes you by including the energetic component and by actually saying that this is the power center for men. Wow, that was crazy when I learned that. And to think that men work with coaches and healers without actually putting their hands on their own cock and feeling the energy there and the power that's there, to think that women are not feeling their orgasmic potential and that actually they can make love and be fully connected to their hearts and feel safe. You know, these areas of the human experience that have been behind closed doors for way too long are the areas that when you're sitting in front of someone or you're really sitting with yourself, have the potential to unlock so much life force energy. And really the point of difference with the body work that is held within tantric practice and the practitioner training is that there is a understanding and a commitment to supporting yourself and others to feel the truth, to actually undo all of the conditioning that has told us that the mind is the authority of our life, and to go, wow, what if we could bring awakening into the body and not resist anything that is within us and allow the conditioning of beliefs that don't serve us to be felt in here with amazing bodywork practices and methods that support beings to actually feel the purge that needs to happen, the release of whatever isn't truth out of our body, and to find that truth. And one of the deliberate intentions of this practitioner training is to really balance releasing trauma, identifying trauma, being with trauma, with expansion. And I find that a lot of people get caught in either identifying too much with trauma, and there was a stage in my life where that was definitely true, or bypassing into awakening, or feeling into what we want and what we want to expand into, but not actually addressing what's in the way of that. So I see this practitioner training as a totality experience where you are going deeper. So this info session, the reason I called it the Path of Mastery is because you are not ready for this unless your soul is being called into a deepening of who you are, who you really are, and into a deepening of supporting others to really feel who they are, the truth of who they are. And to express that. And, you know, what's the difference between knowing the truth of who you are, supporting the truth to come out in others, and the truth that doesn't really feel held in the body? Like, what is truth? Because you can look at some of the leaders and their truth might be to overpower. Their truth might be to overregulate. Their truth might be to just teach through the mind, which is the current education system. And a lot of the conditioning that may have seemed like the truth to you from your parents, from well-meaning teachers, is it really the truth, or is that their mind, their conditioned mind? What's the difference between real truth and mental truth? When you are in truth, it feels fucking good. It feels alive. You feel divine moving through you. And this training takes into account all of my years of studying somatic experiencing and trauma. And it's in there. When I was designing this training, I needed every fucking part of my brain. It was a 4-year process of drawing on a lot of different trainings that I felt called to at different times. And obviously, each of you is feeling called, and you're either already coaches and healers, and you can see that Tantra could be added to your repertoire, or maybe you're wanting to step into that. But in reflecting on my own journey as a practitioner, I felt called to different learnings and to really deepen my mastery into different fields, and trusted that calling and always got something huge out of everyone that I worked with. And so, you know, I'm 45. I haven't stopped studying since I was 18. So when I sat down to write this training, it's like, okay, everything I know about trauma, everything I know about shamanism, everything I know about somatic experience, everything I know about Tantra, everything I know about energetic body work, everything I've learned from my fabulous mentors. How can I synthesize all of that into a path of mastery for people that will 100% guaranteed deepen their own evolution, and 100% guaranteed deepen the evolution of the people they sit in front of? And I have never, ever trained a practitioner whose life has not completely changed. And I don't ever work with clients whose lives don't completely change. And if this is a career path for you, and when I say career, I don't mean career in the traditional way where, oh, I need to do something to earn money. I mean that it's a hobby that lights you the fuck up and you happen to get paid for it. So if you are the type of person who is excited about self-mastery, if you are the person who is excited about human evolution, then you are a leader, and this training is for you. And it requires a commitment to your mastery. Not only are all of the methods within this training and the philosophy behind this training and my enthusiasm and passion that will infuse you over the year, not only will that evolve you, but what's going to evolve you more than anything is saying, I commit to something that is greater than myself. I commit to something that is contributing to evolution in humanity. I'm standing for embodying awakening. And to go back to that, when I went on my journey of embodiment, it was amazing to come out of the cage, to feel everything fully, to actually acknowledge that sexual energy is a pathway to connecting to God and spirit, and a pathway to my liberation and the extrication or the purging of what isn't me. Not only did I feel all of these aspects of Tantra that were really freeing me, I was also feeling the echo of my pre-Tantra days and non-dualism, and came to realize that real Tantra is actually a fusion of both, and that real Tantra is always merging opposites and bringing them together. It's bringing masculine, feminine, dark, light, shadow and consciousness, sexuality and spirituality, trauma and oneness, the part that is right here, right now, that can be beyond that in the deep breath of now. Is looking at trauma important? Absolutely. Is sitting here in this present moment where the past and the present are no longer relevant important? Yes. Is it important to be with and support our clients to experience masculine energy and feminine energy, darkness and light? Yes, all of these dualities. And, you know, these areas of the human experience can be approached in so many different ways. And when I was writing this training, what I've really provided for you is a basic structure that allows for communication and relating to your clients and understanding their conditioning and their relationship with their mother and father and important aspects of their history. It also includes an invocation of not only what's seen, but also what's unseen to support that space. It includes a creating of sacred space. And that space is not something that people step into for you to fix them or for you to tell them what is and isn't truth. It's a space for you to unravel the truth from within them. And it includes energy work and body work and the breath and touch, and whether it's in person and you're touching them or online and they're touching themselves, we are getting energy moving in the body. We are supporting people to feel fully alive, totally present, and no longer needing to control their experience so that they can free themselves into a new space of living. So, you know, these key components of sexuality, relating, shadow work, spirituality, what it's really asking is, how can we tap into a person's conditioning and understand that and the beliefs that are limiting, and then how can we go beyond that into their body so they can feel all of that and trust this wisdom? How can I hold a space for the body to be in its naturalness and do what it needs to do? And then at the end of the session, how can I support a rewiring? So once the nervous system has opened, once there's been a purge, once there's been a felt sense of an aliveness that has never been felt before, which will happen in every session because all of the methods in the training are designed for that. You can't experience or take someone through a womb healing without something deep happening. You can't experience or take someone through really being with and dialoguing with and expressing different aspects of the unconscious without a new aliveness. And what Tantra is really about is loving all of the parts within yourself, supporting your clients to love all of the parts within themselves and saying, guess what? You are whole and you don't need to deny anything anymore. And actually, when you feel that wholeness, the seeking is nothing more than letting go of the tight fist of resistance within your body that is stopping you from being here and trusting yourself in this aliveness. So I'm calling the warriors of truth and the protectors of truth, the warriors of love and the protectors of love to this training. Because there is nothing that this planet needs more, especially this time on the planet. There is nothing that this planet needs more than actual truth and love in a world where there is so much war, in a world where there is so much separation. How can we be ambassadors of truth? How can we be devoted to the evolution within us? Because we know that is what changes everything. That is the point of difference between a coach who is always having an influx of clients, the one who is always evolving, the one who is committed here. And then that commitment and that freedom within you, the more you feel that, then naturally you want other people to experience that level of surrender, surrendering into our humanity with the awakened state. We are claiming and supporting others to claim our humanity, and that our humanity is beautiful. And this training isn't some other online course that you're going to enroll in and go, okay, this is something else to add to my credentials that I'm going to do with my mind. That's not what this training is designed for. This training is designed for you to go deep. This training is an invitation into a deeper change than what's going to happen through the material in this training. And that deeper change is you actually saying, I'm going to commit beyond my habits, beyond the distraction, beyond my comfort zone, beyond what I'm used to, and I'm going to become devoted to self-mastery and mastery of my craft. And how do I do that? I do that through the commitment being here fully, of showing up in loving presence to everything in here with powerful methods, and then bringing that to others and ending the inner war. Because why do we have so much war that's expressed in so many different ways on the planet? Because so many people have this inner war within themselves, where they don't feel safe to come home into a deep remembering of who they are, where they don't feel safe to actually receive love, to be in their pleasure, to experience a connection to spirit through these cells, and resisting whatever is deemed as good or bad. And to end this inner war, we need to give people a new education that's not mind-based, that is a coming home to the soul, to the body, that is supporting people to breathe, feel energy, feel themselves, express parts of themselves they've never expressed. And you get to be the humble inviter of every person's truth that sits in front of you, which will be unique. And what power is there? What greater power is there than supporting someone to be fully who they are? So the next question is, when you let go of all of your conditioning, when you're not in the mind, when you come to deciding whether or not to do this training, ask yourself, does my soul feel called into this deepening of mastery? And you don't know exactly what that's going to be. And I don't plan on telling you exactly what that's going to be, because it's going to be different for everyone, but I can guarantee it is mastery, because that's what I'm all about. And I created it. So when you feel that call, I had this calling once to do a training in Sedona that involved all sorts of crazy shit. I was using my last $10,000 literally to do this training. It was 1 month container. And I didn't know what to do. And then I saw on the number plate of a car that I was driving behind, right when I was in this contemplation, Sedona on the number plate. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to fucking do it. I went and did this training and met 2 people that completely changed my life. I didn't even know anything about Sedona. And I met this shaman who was taking me on the red rocks and drumming me into I thought, I was going to learn more about Tantra, which I definitely did, and met some incredible teachers in the field. There was a group of teachers from all around the world. But actually what made the biggest difference was something completely unexpected. And this man, he could just coo-wee and make sound and animals would come. And then he would start drumming and I'm, lying on this rock, being taken into depths that I've never experienced before. And that came into my work and changed it. And everything that I do and everything that I've ever learned changes a part of me and changes a part of my work. And all I need to do is trust where I feel called to. So this is my call, and I sing it to my soul tribe. I sing it to my pack who are interested in a deep mastery that is both for the self and completely beyond the self, and that will undoubtedly contribute to an evolution in humanity that ends the inner war and that has the potential to end the outer war. And if we're not feeling that hope, if we're not holding a torch for that, if we're not saying, yes, we can be ambassadors of that change, we can be leaders of that change, then who the fuck is saying it? This world needs to change. And I invite all of you to be a part of that. So I'll pass you on to Tara, and then I'll be available for questions. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate the chance to share my passion.
So maybe we can all take a breath together. And I've been working with Chantel, with Raven for 9 years now, and continuously, endlessly inspired by this work and by what it's bringing into the world and the change that it's making. So really grateful that you're all here to receive this and explore this world of Tantra with us. And just sharing a bit of my own journey, kind of pre-Tantra, pre-meeting Chantel. I spent 10 years on and off in India, just diving into spirituality, Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism, Vipassana, and it was all amazing and such incredible gifts, but there was always something missing. And when I met Raven and Chantel and all of her teachings, it was just like, oh, it just hit me, and it was a soul and a heart remembering. And I remember very strongly feeling, why wasn't I taught this by my parents? Why wasn't I taught this at school? This is fundamental education of how to do life that would make all the difference in my life and across the planet. So very grateful to be a part of this global movement of change. And when we first launched the practitioner training last year, the process and the build up of that was, in my own journey, was going through all of the tools, the practices, the bodywork protocols myself, which naturally then flowed into my clients. And I can say it was the fastest jump in my soul's evolution. I'm also 45, in my 45 years, but especially 25 years on the spiritual path. And that's what I love about this training, is that it requires us to go on our own journey, where embodiment is absolutely at the forefront of that. And that actually the main point of differentiation in this training that I've experienced with other trainings is that we are called to live and be in integrity with that which we are sharing with others in our own life. So it's really the fast track for our own evolution and expanding into the limitless possibilities of joy I'm now understanding and experiencing in my own life. And, you know, the person that I was pre-Tantra, completely different human being, completely different life to the person and life that I now live. So what I'm going to do is guide you through some of the structure around the training so you can get a feel for what it is. It's, let me share my screen. So it's a year-long training, of which we are, as Raven spoke into, it's a synthesis of these incredible traditions and modalities that Chantel has experienced over the last 20 years, that her superpower, as those of you who know it, is synthesis. And she has synthesized that in a contemporary context. And what that means is that as a practitioner, you're going to be learning all of these bodywork protocols, all of these practices for yourself, for your clients, that by the end of the training, yes, you've got processes to support people through with their inner child, with their masculine feminine integration, with shadow work, with all of these different aspects. But actually, you then become the creator of your own session unfolding, because the synthesis of all these different modalities means that you're embodying and experiencing the power of psychology, of shamanism, of bodywork, of trauma release within the context of Tantra, where you get to trust your own intuition of how these flow through you. So the other side of the training, which is wonderful for those freedom lovers and those people really committed to love, is that it really allows for you to be your own boss. It allows for you to create your own schedule, and it allows for you to really be in the naturalness of your flow of life and your timing that suits you, so that you can show up for others. And you get a lot of support with how to do that within the training itself. And really what we're supporting people with in this training is also to follow your joy and follow what expands you, and to let go of those parts that's like, well, I should. You know, and those of you who have been in the 9-to-5 realm, there's so much constriction of when you need to work, how long you need to work for, the way it needs to happen. You actually become your own best guide of what's in alignment with you. And when you're in alignment with self, that's the place that your service can really flourish in the world. So there's 12 components, there's 12 modules, one per month. We don't let you fast forward, because integration is really important when experiencing these teachings for yourself or your clients. And with module 1, really this is dropping you into the tradition of Tantra and the lineage of Tantra. And a big part of that is working with the deities, the mantras, and the yantras from which Tantra was birthed. And this is such a core foundation that before we go into bodywork protocols, you're really grounding and holding into your practice, which includes a daily practice that is there for you for the duration of the 12-month training, and really is the point of holding mastery within your own being so that you can support others to do the same. The second module is really then stepping into confidence in being a practitioner, which everyone on their journey of being a practitioner works with this element at some stage. And yeah, the foundations of that is really around creating sacred space and being in your practice with that, and then looking at the inner fears and self-doubts that are holding you back from really shining in your superpower and in your service. So we talk into releasing agenda to fix, which, can come into the psyche when we're supporting others, and really focusing on holding loving presence as the fundamentals of healing is loving presence. And then we speak into also, Raven guides you into issues specifically around mental health, addictions, and accountability with a client. Module 3 is then around session structure to support wholeness. And this is the structure, the 4-part structure of activation, invocation, where we're working with the deities and the mystical energies before we open and dive into the session, or to open the session. And then we go into the conversation stage, is the second segment, where a lot of your own inner journey and understanding of the philosophy of Tantra comes into play, so that you can see what the person's pain point is and which direction to take the session into. We then move into the activation stage, and this is where we're vibrating whatever is there that hasn't felt safe to be felt. You are holding space and guiding that person in the safety of your loving presence for them to feel that, and to drop into the layers of the feeling body, emotional body, and physical body, to access the unconscious parts that are now ready to be seen, that are now ready to be felt, that are now ready to be expressed, so that they can release and actually see what they're needing beneath that. And this activation stage is where all the different bodywork protocols come in, that through your understanding of them, your self-experience of them, and your intuition, you can guide them into whichever one feels relevant and pertinent for your client at that point in time. And then the 4th stage, super important stage, is integration, where there's now an openness through the shedding of layers and the expression, that now new beliefs and expanded beliefs can start to anchor into the nervous system, and there is a deep relaxation into self, and this is where rewiring happens. So this module is really the structure that then the rest of the training follows, and that as a practitioner you come back to again and again and again. Module 4, we move into the really important aspects, which I think is very defining of this training, which is safety and integrity. And we look at all the different aspects of this in your own being and in relating to a client. And that includes navigating boundaries, consent and attunement, and the importance of discernment when working with sexual energy. And there's a lot of great content in there that you'll get to experience and become familiar with, and especially around working with the nervous system, trauma, and stress responses. Module 5, we start moving into the unconscious. And in essence, this is shadow work, and looking at all of these denied, disowned aspects of your client's psyche that in the container of your loving presence and safety, they may be accessing for the first time. And this is one of my favorite modules. You know, there's so many techniques here that we can use, that you get to use around verse dialogue, shadow work, the emotional body, healing sexual trauma, and working with debilitating beliefs and patterns that then the client gets to really recalibrate and move into a more open, expanded beliefs and patterns. Module 6 is then Raven's key bodywork protocols. And these are the essential techniques that work with emotional trauma that otherwise in a lot of modalities go unacknowledged. So tantric massage is so transformational, where we're bringing loving presence and touch to allow sexual energy to be moved throughout the entire physical and energetic body. And your client gets an experience to receive and what it is to receive and surrender to pleasure throughout the body. And that can bring up a whole heap of suite of things in the unconscious that's ready to be revealed. There's heart de-armoring and breast massage. There's inner child integration. There's awakening kundalini. And each of these has really specific benefits to the client that will take them on a deepening in their inner journey. So then we move into more specifics. So module 7 and 8 are key practices for the feminine. So this is mostly for female clients, but it's also for the feminine in men. And this is when in female bodies, you're guiding your client into connection, conversation, and unraveling of that relationship between their inner feminine and their inner masculine. This is where womb healing comes in, releasing past lovers, yoni attunement, and affecting and connecting to that feminine radiance and bliss. And then the same for module 8, but with men, or the masculine in women. And this is really working with around sexual energy to do with sublimation and releasing porn addiction. It's working with rewiring sexual guilt and shame, which is a big part in the male psyche. And then also cultivating and trusting the inner feminine, as well as initiating that divine masculine of witnessing and presence through meditation. So these are amazing specific protocols that are key for working with feminine and with masculine. Module 9 and 10 is couples work. And these are beautiful. I really love couples work and couples immersions, actually, where diving into deeper containers of this work. And module 9 is around communication practices for couples. And this is brilliant. This is where, first of all, we look at, okay, there's a technique that you can use that looks at animal, heart, and consciousness to see, first of all, is there compatibility between a couple? And then different techniques where the couple get to, sometimes for the first time ever, experience vulnerable sharing and reflective listening, and practices that you can facilitate for them that they can then take home and practice themselves. And also around gratitude and making healthy requests. And then also there's a beautiful practice which is around, first of all, releasing stress responses that's held within the couple's container. And then role reversal, which is really stepping into the other person's shoes and experiencing what they could be experiencing, which is really, really eye-opening for many couples. And then module 10, we're going into intimacy practices. So this is to really support the client in their connection, in romance, in heightening sexual polarity, in looking at this foursome between the man's feminine and masculine and the woman's feminine and masculine, and what's going on there, and looking at energy circulation, fantasies, desires, boundaries, worshipful devotion, and then there's a whole series of love appointments that you can then work with couples to then they take home and practice in the bedroom. The last two modules are working with Shamanic Energetics, and there's some beautiful bodywork protocols here and practices, which is for your own journey where you really open to being a channel for grace and intuition. And by this stage in the training, that will naturally be happening in your being through the synthesis and integration of the previous 10 modules. But there's some journeys that Chantel takes you on to really activate that at a deeper state, where the mind is no longer going, oh, okay, should I be doing this for module 7 or module 3 or module 8? And you're opening to being a clear channel for spirit to move through in that moment and really trusting and following that. And yeah, wow, it's awe-inspiring every time what comes from that space. And we move into the chakra system, how to work with your energetic field and how to guide a client on a shamanic journey. And then towards the end of the 12 months, we're really here anchoring into you and reminding you what it is to be a master practitioner. And this really works with you owning what your unique superpower is, because through the training, you're going to see demonstrations of Chantel doing every one of the bodywork protocols on a client. But the key here is that you find your unique superpower. It doesn't have to look like how she does it. It doesn't have to look like how I do it. It doesn't have to look like how Erin does it, who you'll be meeting in a moment. You know, like everyone has their unique gifts that they get to bring through this training, through everything that you're learning to your client. And then we go into more of the logistics of pre-session intake forms and discovery calls, how you best do that, post-session homework and testimonials and how you work with your clients with that, and feeling confident to charge what you're worth. It's a journey for every practitioner, myself included, that I've known. So really giving you support in that. So let's take one more breath. That was a lot of information receiving around some of the core aspects of the 12-month journey. And I just want to speak into two other aspects. So there's the 12-month practitioner training, but alongside that, you get access as soon as you, so that starts, the 12-month practitioner training starts the 1st of February, where the first module is unlocked and you start to work with that content. But as soon as you join the training, you get access to the 8-week courses and to our short courses. And none of this part is assessed, but you'll hear Chantel talking about the 8-week courses and short courses all the way through your 12 months, because this is where you really get to dive into your own embodiment around power, around relationships, around sexuality, and around business. And these all come with a daily practice. They all come with guided meditations for you to go through somatic experiences, teaching videos. Each of them come with a 150-page manual. And really, these are kind of like your individual Bibles on heart chakra, solar plexus, sacral, and throat chakra of your expression in the world. And this gives you the framework and the understanding of the tantric wisdom and teachings around this that will really come into that second stage of the session structure, which is conversation, and help you be able to give feedback and guidance to your client. And then these are the short courses that are really diving specifically into teachings around sex, money, power, sexual healing, magnetic joy, and mental health, which are 4 kind of key components of life that that there's extra attention provided to in these short courses. So the training is certified with the International Institute for Complementary Therapists. So once you complete and pass all the compulsory assessments, you will receive a certificate of completion from us, for which you can then, if that's something that you want to receive, the certification, then you get to apply for that through IICT, International Institute for Complementary Therapists, to receive that. And the assessment requirements are that you view all of the learning material of the practitioner training, so module 1 to 12, and that's tracked through the platform. And then for each module of 1 to 12, there's 5 questions that you get to type and answer. It's all on the platform, and then just hit submit. And our team, our assessment team, will then give you feedback on them, so that each module you're getting feedback from people to make sure that you're on track. From module 3 onwards, this is where the session structure and the bodywork protocols start. You will be doing practice sessions with clients. And so for each of these modules, from module 3 to 11, we get you to submit one self-reflection form, which we give you, and it helps you to reflect on the different parts of the session structure and how you went, paired with one client feedback form where your client does the same thing. And again, you submit them, we get to review them and give you feedback, so that every module you're expanding and progressing in your bodywork and in your session skills. And the final assessment is to submit a recorded video of the session that, again, we watch and give the final certification and approval to. And as I said before, the non-compulsory sections are the 8-week courses and the short courses, which are an absolute must on your journey, but they're not compulsive for assessment and certification. This is your team. So you've met Chantel, you're now meeting me. You'll be meeting Erin soon, who's actually my sister, my blood sister, not my soul sister, also my soul sister. And yeah, the 3 of us are really the pillars of holding you on this journey together. And we're here every step of the way with you. So I'd now just like to touch on what you're getting as part of the practitioner training, because there's various elements. So I've tried my best to break it down in pretty slides for you to receive what that is. So Chantel likes to connect with every individual student. And for this training, she will be doing a one-on-one session with every student, so that she can help guide you on how to best utilize all the material with the training, based on what's going on specifically in your life, in your path, in your past, and where your future path is taking you. So you'll be given access to her schedule to book that in whenever you feel that that's best to be utilized during the training. You've got the 12-month practitioner training, which I've spoken into, the 12 modules. There's 48 videos, there's 30 guided audio meditations, there's bodywork, protocol demonstration videos, so that you actually get to see and feel what a session looks like. There's 15 bonus videos from some incredible practitioners, so that you're not just hearing it from us, but you're also hearing some of the key concepts in the training that other practitioners who are doing this work in the world are also living by, and you're hearing it from their perspective and their experience. There's also a 315-page practitioner training manual. Raven has definitely a superpower with her manuals. I still, after 9 years, flick through them regularly. And then you have homework and daily practices, exercises every month to really help you integrate the teachings, and then the assessment. Having connection points with us throughout the year training is really important. So you have weekly live calls that will be scheduled across multiple time zones, so that every month, no matter what time zone you're in the world, you'll be able to receive at least one of them live. They're all recorded. You get to watch replays. They're all uploaded to your platform where the training is held. And really, Raven comes in for one of these calls per month, where essentially she just blasts you with whatever she's channeling in that moment around that module. Definitely don't miss that. Yeah, it's an amazing way to kind of re-inspire and reignite the teachings within that module. I then come in also monthly, a few weeks after, to help you actually experience the bodywork protocols that you're supporting others to do. I hold the container and I guide you through them so that you get to experience that for yourself, and you're held in the container yourself. We then have Erin, who comes in also every month doing question and answer training calls with you all. So any of your questions you get to ask, she gets to clarify. This is a great way to all learn from each other and what you're all moving through, because your question is very, very, very often someone else's question. And then we have monthly calls with support, with a pod support group, which is led by one of our practitioners. And Erin, did you want to jump in here and share a bit about the pod support group? Because I think that's a beautiful support here.
Sure. Hi, everyone. It's nice to see you all in the call. I'm sure I'll share more later. But just to speak to these pod groups, we've really thought carefully about these as a way that in smaller groups you can be supported through the journey, particularly based on the location that you are in the world. With the live calls, you'll be able to have about 50% of them in a time zone that's ideal, and about 50% in a time zone that might mean getting up in the middle of the night or watching them after the call. So for that reason, we wanted to be able to give you groups of 4 or 5 that you go through, who are all in a similar location to you, led by someone who has been through the training and who is a dear part of our Academy community. So that's really so that you've got some people that you can be peers with, because we know in an online training you can feel a little bit separated. So these pods, we really feel will give you that sort of more intimate support as you go through the training, and you'll be able to have the option of working with your practitioner for one-on-one support if that's something that you'd like to invest in, as well as having those monthly calls to really get to know a group of students and a facilitator as you go through the training.
Thanks, Erin. And then the student support. So the student support is really through the pods, as Erin just spoke into, and also through a private Facebook student support group. And we have one of our team in there answering your questions, inspiring the group, and really cultivating communication between you all, so that you're receiving support from us, but you're also supporting each other by sharing your experiences. And then lastly, there's the bonus study material, which I've spoken into. There's the bonus practitioner training videos, which are wonderful to see how other practitioners in this community, the healing community, are working with these aspects of the training that you're going to be learning yourself. Then there's the 8-week courses and the short courses. So this bonus material, you do at your own pace, really trust yourself with which course you want to start first. But for those of you who are joining us between now and 1st of February, I highly recommend diving into this material and starting that own inner journey. If you have any specific questions unique to your situation, then please reply to that email and let us know. And we're happy to also jump on a call with you if you have any more specific questions that aren't answered in the Q&A section. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and we have a few practitioners with us that have done the training that are going to share their experiences with you. So I wanted to open to Deanna, to Erin, if you ladies would like to share with the group.
I can jump in first. So yeah, to introduce myself again, I'm working with the Academy and particularly working in the practitioner training as the training manager. So I'm often the person that will be answering your specific emails. I love structure and making sure everybody is looked after. So that's definitely the piece that I hold. And I've been working with the Academy and with Chantel for about the last 7 or 8 years as well. So I've had incredible opportunities to really deepen in this work. And I've been working as a practitioner for the last, I think it's now been 4 years. And really, I guess all I want to share in this moment is just the value of being a practitioner and the honor, and also I guess the humbleness of working with clients is it gives back so much more than you could ever imagine. And while you don't work with clients to feel that give back necessarily, it's every client that I work with, I'm just amazed at the process and humbled by the, like, in some ways, the simplicity of it, of being able to sit with another human and just say, I see you, I love you, I'm here with you. And, you know, there's so many more specific protocols, but that moment never gets old for me. I'm always just so like, this person is trusting me. And when I get to share the practices, when I get to work with them, and you see their whole body, actually not just their mind, their whole body land in the truth of that for themselves. Like I say, it's just such an honor to witness people in some of their most vulnerable moments really embracing their lives. I can't get over the fact that that's something that I get to do, that I just got off a client call before this, and a month ago she was in such a dark place, and I was like, even for me, I was like, this is going to be a long journey. I was like, I'm here for it. And just these simple practices in a way of shifting mindset, supporting her to go through that. The transformation today, she was like radiating off the screen, and I was like, sometimes I feel like it's not even it's not what I'm doing. It's like just being a vessel for loving presence, being a vessel for these practices. I'm blown away by them. So, to be able to spend my days doing that work, yeah, like all I can say that never gets old. It's truly magical. And then I guess at a personal level, to be someone who's holding people through this, there's a level of integrity of having to hold yourself in that as well. And I'm someone who responds very well to having that kind of obligation and that commitment, that if I'm going to sit in front of someone and say, I'm here to serve, I have to have been doing that work myself. And so that's just such an incredible journey. And now being part of the teaching, part of the Academy as a teacher, that's even like a next level of growth. So yeah, at a personal level, it's transformational. And yeah, I guess all I want to share is that if any of you are feeling that call, you will be held through this in a incredible, deep, thorough, magical space of working with humans on what matters the most in this world. Yeah. So thank you.
That was so beautiful, Erin. I just I want to speak before Deanna does, as something's arising. And one question that I get asked a lot from practitioners is, what is it that's going to put me? There's a big truck going past. Just a moment. How do I know if I'm going to be successful? If I'm investing all of this time and money into the training, how do I know if I'm going to be successful? And I feel like Erin has been a real key player in supporting my answer to this, because what we noticed when we did the first cohort of training is that it's very difficult for some people to actually fully enter a field of holding the center point of tantric practice at the core of their being, which is, can I shift my focus from the external to the internal and actually meet what's there without resistance and listen to this truth? And Erin would regularly say to me, I think we need them to have the support of this or this or this or this. And, you know, we're already giving so much to the training. I'll admit that there was some resistance on my part, but I deeply trust her, and I deeply trust her integrity as a practitioner, and can really see how what she's implemented in terms of support for all of you to stay accountable and to be in the education of this devotion to a deep surrender has been incredible. So all of these things you're seeing, you know, the pod leaders and the groups and the accountability that is woven into the practitioner training, Erin has implemented a lot of that, and it was a key player, wasn't she, Tara, in getting the certification happening. So I just really want to acknowledge her, and of course acknowledge Tara, who, if not for her, you know, when I used to train practitioners, they would often be living with me, spending lots of time with me, and the practitioners I've trained are all leading now in their different ways. And what I want to say about that one-on-one session that Tara didn't say, part of my desire in having one-on-one time with each of you is that the training is going to complement your life in completely different ways. So some of you are already coaches in a particular field. Some of you aren't coaches yet. And I'm here to share my wisdom and my experience with you and say, okay, if you're doing Reiki, if you're doing somatic healing, if you're a trauma therapist, whatever it is that's this is how Tantra is going to help you. And the reason I can do that is because I'm extremely intuitive, but also because I've studied so many modalities and I've seen, oh my God, when you infuse that with Tantra, what a result you get. And Tara was really the person to say to me, you don't have enough of you to train everyone anymore that wants training. We had so many people saying that, and I'm like, I can't take anyone else on. Tara, maybe you start training people. She's like, no way, I'm not ready for that. Let's do an online training. And like a lot of Tara's ideas, they feel extremely like, oh, okay, I'll just create an online. It's not as easy as that, Tara. She's like, you've got this. And yeah, a lot of what you're going to be reading in the manual was written at 3 a.m. in the morning. You know, I'd get woken up by spirit at that time when the world is asleep, and all of my knowledge that I had that I thought I had to get down to paper and didn't know how just kind of started coming through me. So I just really want to acknowledge Tara for creating the space for the teachings to flow through and her initiating energy into everything that's online. I would never have done any of that. And I really want to honor Erin, who's her sister and who's my sister forever, for the level of integrity and safety and detail that she's brought to this training. And I think that the three of our superpowers combined make for a training that is very heartfelt, rich, and based on something real. And the other gift that Tara has is to really support each and every one of you within the training to embody everything that you're going to be sharing, because she is my most devoted, most perfect soul client who takes every single thing that she learns and she will mine the heart and mine the depths of her soul and be committed to her practice until she is embodying that, and then she will serve with that. So you're going to receive her guidance every month, someone who is a transmission of what it means to be a real leader, so that you can feel, okay, what is it like to embody this next method and receive it from someone who's already gone on that journey. So she fast tracks you. You get to bypass all the mistakes she made. And me, it's like what you get is the jewels of everything I've learned. This is the best bit of this. This is the best bit of that. This is the best bit of that. Channeled to you. So that's my piece. I'll also say that another question I get often is, yeah, like how do I know if I'm going to be successful? How do I know if this investment is real? So part of that is what I've already attempted to help you understand. It's your own evolution. It's how much you're shifting and how much you're changing. And as you're doing that, you will magnetize people to you because they will feel your authenticity. That's the first part. The second part, which is directly related to that, is when you decide to do this training, the decision is not to do, actually. It's like lovemaking. We can go, okay, we're going to make love as something that we do that has an outcome attached to it. Or we can step into lovemaking as a journey where we are committed to being fully present, totally alive, and having no control over what's happening. We're here moment to moment. And what if we're here moment to moment in the training? What if we're committed to all of the practices? What if we don't lag behind and it's another online course or study that becomes a burden? I want people who are willing to step into this, not as something that they're doing, but as something that their soul is called into and going, I am going into the depths of this. I am committed to this, and my commitment is consistent. If you dedicate consistent time every week to this training, I guarantee 3 things. You will, first of all, become a master of the craft. Second of all, you will evolve beyond anything that you've ever felt was possible within your nervous system and your being and your expression. And the third thing is that you are going to make a lot of money and receive a lot of abundance, because I am, and the people that I train are, so I know it to be true, in the expression of your divinity and supporting others to feel theirs. You are serving with all of you. And I don't know anyone, of all the teachers that I've met in the planet, I don't know any teacher who is not successful, who is a living, breathing transmission of the work. So that's my call to power to you. That's my call to your mastery, is that when you choose this fully. And if it's not in your comfort zone to be fully devoted to self-mastery and to your leadership, then it's going to feel uncomfortable. So fucking be with that, right? If you want to make a difference, if you want to deepen, if you want to expand, that expansion beyond what you know is going to feel like this. And then you can just stop the training or not be as consistent or fall behind, or you can go, there's that uncomfortable feeling that Raven was talking about, and I'm going to be there throughout to help keep inspiring you. And you know what? I can be with that. I can go, yeah, this is uncomfortable. I'm stretching beyond the small self into something higher. And you allow that, and you feel that, and maybe you need to shake or scream or punch a pillow or grieve the loss of the small self that's still grasping. And then you get to just be the open field of awareness that you're learning to be, that feelings can flow through. And then go, you know what? I choose this. So everyone just close their eyes for a moment And bring your hand to where you feel your soul. Maybe it's your heart, maybe it's your third eye, maybe it's your solar plexus, wherever you feel your soul. Trust yourself. Om Namah Shivaya Kundalini Jaya Om Shrim Shaktiye Namaha Om Shrim Shaktiye Namaha. This feeling in the body. Are you feeling called into a path that dissolves the separation of right and wrong within you and allows you to fully surrender into the full embodiment and expression of who you are? And are you feeling the calling to lift people into that same resonance, into a devotion to love that is both personal and impersonal, to freedom that is both impersonal and personal, to love and freedom and surrender as a state through which everything can flow through, everything can heal, anything can be created, and your self-worth is dependent upon nothing other than your own devotion to truth. And just feeling from your body, from your intuition, if this is something that is calling you. And all of the great information that you can read about and hear about this training is amazing. And at the end of the day, the most important information I can give you in this information session is the information that you know deep down. The mind doesn't need to know. When you're here, connecting to us, connecting to the Academy, connecting to yourself, do you feel the calling? And my call to power to you is trust that, whether your answer is no, I don't feel called, or yes, I can feel it. I can feel the calling. And I'm going to get on my pirate ship and start to explore, getting deeper, much deeper, deepening in my current practice, deepening in my personal evolution, and deepening in my leadership in the world. Everyone take a deep breath. And exhale, relax, release. Thank you for listening. And Diana, thank you for your patience, darling. If you can share with everyone your experience of the training.
Yes. Hi, all. So first of all, when you join the training, you have such a powerful session with Raven once a month, where she blasts you open. And for me, it's always like she's calling me back. She's reminding me of why I'm doing those things. Because life happens and, you know, I might get carried away, but such a session with her brings me back into alignment and reminds me of why I'm here and why I'm doing this training. So that was just very accurate to just add here. And my personal journey with Tantra, it's about 3 years ago that I started attending my first workshop with the Embodied Awakening Academy. Then I was very fortunate to have one-on-one sessions with Tara, where I was the client that I would receive all the magic. And I would continue to attend workshops and just deepen my own practices. Pre-Tantra, I was in corporate, climbing up the corporate ladder, being very ambitious, hyper independent. I don't need no one. I can do everything myself. My masculine, especially my unhealthy masculine, of overworking and numbing with having a drink here or overeating was quite present in my life, because the society that I was living in it was normal to have drinks twice a week, and just like work till 8, 9, 10 p.m. And once I started really receiving the transmission of the academy, I realized that the path I chose for myself had brought me to a certain point in my life. Yes, but is that really how I want to continue live my life? Is that really how I want to? And I'm 40 years old, so it's like I've done it for many years. And it's like, how do I want to live? What feels more aligned to me and to my soul? And when they started the practitioner training beginning of this year, and Tara, I was having a conversation with her, and I was like, yes, it feels aligned. And at the beginning, I wasn't necessarily focused on making it a career. It was like, there is so many things that I want to look within side of me, that I want to release, that I really want to feel, because before that, I didn't know what it means to feel. I grew up in a household where feelings were not allowed. Like crying was a sign of weakness. Was brought up by a single mother, which did her very, very best. But, I was a product of that. And the first 3 months of the training, where we introduced deity worship, which I love, because for me, there is something bigger than myself. I don't have to do everything myself. I can call in power and from unseen realms that can support me on my path. And sometimes I think what's the right thing for me is that, but just because my limited mind doesn't know better. So the first 3 months were really deep healing, releasing and feeling and meeting the dark night of the soul. And that's where Raven says, like, being the warrior and really allowing yourself to go there. And then I remember after I passed like module 3, I started giving sessions, and I was nervous. I didn't know. It's like, I just started this program, but just the intention of like loving presence and the intention to be there for this person and their healing process. It was magical. My first client was going through something and had epiphanies and realized unconscious beliefs that they have for years. And I was like, I wasn't even doing much, but like just the space that I created and with my devotion to the practice allowed him to open. And that was a sign. I was like, wow, there is a thing if you hear it and if you watch videos, but once you experience yourself, you're like, oh wow, this is real, and this feels very empowering. And one thing I wanted to add, what I really love about the way Raven teaches compared to other coaches and people in the field, it's like, take everything in, alchemize it within yourself, and make it your own. So she's really encouraging us to take her wisdom and make it our own. Whatever I want to focus on, whatever I want to bring into this world, which birthed out of this course, she's supporting that. So it's not like there are 5 steps and you have to follow them, otherwise you're not a practitioner. And this gives me such an empowerment and calls things within me that I wasn't aware that they were there. And now practicing regularly, having people WhatsApp me, it's like, oh, I heard you're a practitioner. Can I have sessions? I was like, who are you? So that's when you're in alignment, people find you. And the last thing I want to talk about is, if you really do the work and your daily practice, people around you notice that something changes. They can't maybe pinpoint it, but maybe you're less agitated. Life force is flowing through you. You're much more in your joy. And people around notice that, which for me was a beautiful feedback from my social circles. Like, you're different in a better way. So yeah, I'm about to finalize the training beginning of next year. Can't wait to get certified and then really dedicate myself to this. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Diana. So you've just addressed a few things that have sparked off something else that I want to share with you guys, which the first one is people often will be worried about who they're going to practice on. And there's a few options. If you're not already a coach or a healer, you can practice on the people in your pod, and you can practice on each other, which is really beautiful. You can also practice on friends and family and just put it out there and offer. And the intimacy, as you beautifully described, that's felt in those places, and the vulnerability that Erin touched on, it's like those intimate spaces of working with clients are so beautiful. And a lot of practitioners have said to me, wow, you know, I did this practice session on my mum and it was such a healing for me, or, you know, on my partner or on a friend. So you can practice with each other. You can practice on family and friends. The other thing I'll say is, you know, that ripple effect you speak of, Diana, where your work is rippling out and people start to notice that you've changed. That is inspiring for people to work with you because they can see how much you've changed. The other thing is that because the methods within this training create real change, if you're also dedicated to your inner work and you're dedicated to the methods and practices, then change is inevitable in the hearts that you touch. And your best your best tool to generate more clients is when people see that the people around them are changing. I've never really advertised my one-on-one sessions. I don't need to, because people will work with me and their lives will change. And I'm giving you the tools for that, right? I'm also giving you the wisdom that if you are looking, feeling, evolving within yourself and making the courageous decisions you need to make, that will be a transmission that people are drawn to. So just to bring those viewpoints home. Thanks, Diana. Beautiful, beautiful share.
Okay, so now we will open for questions. So any questions you have, please unmute yourself so that we can respond.
I don't know if you can hear me as I'm in a loud restaurant.
We can hear you.
Oh, perfect. I'm just curious about how much time you think we should set aside per week in order to have ample amount of time to actually plan next year. And I just want to make sure there's lots of space.
Tara or Erin, you want to answer that?
I'm happy to jump in, Tara.
Yeah, go for it.
So obviously each student will go through at their own pace, a different pace of learning, but we say as an estimate around 12 to 15 hours a week. It's a 600-hour training, but that can obviously shrink or expand according to how you like to learn. So I would say 12 to 15 hours a week gives you spaciousness for your daily practice. It gives you spaciousness to really read the manual, to watch the videos, to do your practice sessions, and then to engage in the pod. However, one thing I do want to bring in just very quickly in line with that is that you can go through the training and not get certified and just do it for your own self-study. So the way we hold this training is that we've got real accountability and clarity if you want to get certified. And if you want to get certified in that 12 months, 12 to 15 hours a week is our recommendation. Some people might want to take longer to complete the certification elements. They might want to absorb it over time, have a busy couple of months. So we really hold a pillar of clarity, accountability, and structure, while also holding the option that you can go through at your own pace. So 12 to 15 hours with flexibility.
And I just want to jump in here with something about certification. So if you are more limited in time and you didn't want to go through the assessment, certification is amazing for some people and super important. I have 10 certificates in different things. I've got a law degree, I've got honors in philosophy, I'm a Steiner trained teacher, I've got a certificate in anthroposophy, somatic experiencing, certified to the hilt. Not one person has ever asked to see a certificate, right? Now, I appreciate the certification, not for the piece of paper, but for the mastery I had to develop in order to get there. So what I would say is commit to the mastery of this craft. Yeah, and everyone's commitment to mastery looks different. And you don't actually need a physical certificate these days. You know, no one looks at a profile on Instagram or feels a transmission or meets someone and goes, wow, I really love their energy and feels called to it, and wonders what they're certified in. You know, it used to be like that 20 years ago. So you have a lot of freedom. And if certification is going to hold you accountable to your mastery, and you're someone who doesn't have a lot of ability to have your own self-study, commitment, discipline, then I would highly recommend you go through the certification. If you're someone like me who dedicates yourself to something, not because you're getting a certificate at the end, but because you want to be a master and not a novice, and you want to reach every little corner, then maybe you don't need to do the certification. So I'm opening up possibilities. Yeah. Thanks.
And because, as Chantel said, I love the safety accountability side of things, and I'm the nerdy type that loves a certificate. What I will also just add to clarify is that you are certified when you complete the assessment requirements. Where the International Institute for Complementary Therapies comes in is that they are a training provider that has looked at our training program and given it accreditation, which means that they deem it to be at a certain level. What that means is that they offer insurance if you become a member with them. So you are certified whether you go to the International Institute of Complementary Therapists, whether you go to them or not. But for those that, you know, sometimes when you work in a public space, you need to provide public liability insurance. For those who might be working in more corporate structures or places where these kinds of legal support systems are important, that's where the certificate that you receive from us that allows you to be certified can be used to get extra professional benefits through IICT. And also when you become certified, you're allowed to promote yourself in the world as an embodied awakening certified practitioner. If you don't complete the training, you can still advertise yourself in the world as you want, but not under that specific title. So just to bring in that the flip side of that, and I think Chantel and I hold those two pieces beautifully, and it's a constant dance. But just to give some clarity to that, because I know that for me, I even had to research, you know, what is certification versus accreditation, and I got really excited about it.
That's great. Any other questions? This is your chance, and you can ask a question about anything, and your question is someone else's. So don't feel silly. Like, whatever your curiosity genuinely is right now, if there is one, feel free to ask.
Perhaps to just jump in on some comments in the thread. Somebody's asked how many people are in a cohort, and Tara's replied, we're capping at 60. And there's also a comment just to clarify how many people are in each pod. There'll be 5 to 6 in each pod to one trained practitioner. and that will be in the same, roughly in the same time zone, give or take a few hours.
All right. Well, I'd love to hear some feedback. I can see someone's just given us some. I always like to just feel the energy of what we've been holding. So if everyone can just write a little sentence as to, you know, what you took away from this, what you're feeling now, anything that you feel to share, that will be really appreciated. And feel free to reach out to us if you want a one-on-one call with one of us. We can also make that happen if you've got deeper questions and you don't feel like conversing in this broader kind of scene. And yeah, I look forward to meeting those souls who do feel called. And yeah, thank you for being here. It's been great. It's been great to share with you all.
Thank you very much
you
for the
all.
presentation on my side. Thank you.
And you'll be receiving an email with a replay of this, with any additional information that's needed. And yeah, just feel free to respond, ask any questions. Yeah, we're here for you and excited to share this work with those of you who feel called.
All right, Erin, did you want to say anything before we switch off?
No, just that we're here for you over this time. So please do reach out if you need. And maybe we'll make sure that the link to booking a one-on-one call is in that email as well. So if you have more personal questions, you can do so. Yeah, I'm excited for all of you to feel into what's right for you and hope to see you.
Yeah. Well, goodbye, everyone. Have a beautiful evening, day. See you later.